And get started with the tech clinic today with the Ghufran, Shah, and with all your questions. Inshallah, we'll try our best to answer. Let's welcome in Ghufran, Shah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Yasar. How are you doing?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, fine. And how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I just need your du'as, and I'm starting to like Sunday evenings because we get a wonderful presenter like Brother Adi and Brother Asha. They're beautiful gems they come out with on a Sunday evening. That's all you need while you're just sitting in front of the gas fire with your slippers on and a hot cup of tea or chocolate and some marshmallows. Beautiful.
Let's get started with the tech clinic then. So, starting off, our first question of the day is a data transmission rate measured in megabytes per second or megabits per second?
Okay, that's a very nice question. The answer is it can be measured in both megabytes and megabits. The thing to be careful of is a lot of speeds you'll see that are advertised are really shown in megabits. Now, a bit is the smallest unit when we're talking about computers, a 0 and a 1. A 0 is a bit and a 1 is a bit. However, there's a relationship between the two because 8 bits make up a byte. So you'll see sometimes advertised with your local ISP that you can get an internet speed of 100 megabits per second. Well, 100 megabits per second is spelt out 100 and small m, or big M actually, and the small b. So the small b is a bit, whereas the big B is a byte. So 100 megabits actually becomes 100 divided by 8 megabytes. So 100 megabits is 12.5 megabytes per second. So it's fair to use both of these terms. You may also see kilobytes per second or kilobits or megabits for transferring large amounts of data. So they both are correct. However, just be careful of the bits versus the byte. The key thing really is there are 8 bits for 1 byte.
So the bits are smaller, the bytes are bigger?
That's right, yes.
Cool. Excellent.
So you could say I've got an internet speed of 1 megabyte. So 1 megabyte is actually a faster speed than 1 megabit.
Okay.
Because 1 megabit is only 1/8 of a megabyte, if that makes sense.
Super. I hope it does to the person who asked the question. If not, they can always call us in or text us in with another follow-up question if they like. Second question of the day is, I want to use a keyboard and mouse with my S3. I heard it can be done. How do I do it?
Yes, the brother or sister heard correctly. It can indeed be done. There's 2 choices really. You can get, if you want to go for the wireless option, you can get pretty much any Bluetooth compatible keyboard or mouse, and you can pair your keyboard or mouse with your phone, and you'll be able to control the applications with your keyboard or mouse. So that's getting any Bluetooth compatible device. You could alternatively get a what's called a USB kit, as an on-the-go kit, a small dongle that plugs into your phone, into the connector. Might cost a few pounds, not expensive at all. And the other end, you can plug in your USB keyboard or your USB mouse into that dongle, and then you can control your device using the keyboard. If you plug in a USB mouse, as soon as the device recognizes the mouse, you'll see a pointer appear on the screen. So it's quite cool. On your Samsung device, you'll see a mouse appear. You can control the mouse as though it were your finger.
Wow, that is pretty cool. So you can actually get a dongle which connects to the phone, and then you can use a wired keyboard and mouse?
Absolutely, yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you want to buy the dongle, you can go to Amazon.com, and they're about seen one for £3 earlier, and some shops might sell them for a £5. It's just a device that allows you to plug in your wired devices. So in fact, the nice thing with the Samsungs is you can plug in a variety of devices, USB devices. So it could be a USB hub, it could be a USB drive, a USB stick, as well as your pointer devices.
I guess the best way to make the most out of that, because obviously still a phone, it's not really a huge, humongous screen, I guess, is to basically get one of those connectors so you can connect it up to a TV, right?
Absolutely, if you want to, yeah, you can certainly do that. I prefer the wireless option with the actual Bluetooth. Most people probably have Bluetooth mouses anyway, or Bluetooth mice in-house. They can try it out before going out and buying a new one. You don't need to buy a special Samsung S3 compatible device. That might cost you an arm and a leg. It could be any Bluetooth compatible device.
Would work. Excellent. Okay, moving on to our next question of the day. Which would you rather own, a Samsung Galaxy S3 or a Nexus 4?
Oh. Do I have to choose
I
one
guess,
of those?
and I guess it's really an open question, is it?
It is an
I know what
open
you
question.
mean.
Yeah, sure. So, in fact, let's do a comparison of both. They are very similar handsets, but at the end of the day, it comes down to one crucial factor, which I'll come to once we just go through the spec of these. So they are very popular handsets.
Sure.
The S3 by Samsung Galaxy, and the Nexus is the handset by Google. So very similar handsets. If you look at the price to start off with, you can see that the Nexus 4 is a lot cheaper than the Samsung. So you can get a Nexus 4. The prices start at around 239 for an 8 GB, 279 for a 16 GB, whereas the Samsung S3 costs 450 for the 16 GB. So a big difference in the price point there. They look very similar. The actual dimensions, you're talking the S3 is about 5 millimeters thinner than the S4. S3 weighs slightly lighter. It's about 6 grams less than Nexus, so not that much to it in the physical appearance. Processor memory, again, the actual Nexus 4, very powerful Qualcomm S4 Pro 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processor, 2 GB RAM, whereas the Samsung uses Samsung's own, it's a quad 1.4 gigahertz so chip with a 1 GB RAM, so it's slightly less RAM in the Samsung. The screen technology slightly different. The one of them uses the AMOLED LED screen. I can't remember which one it was now. I think it's the Samsung maybe uses that one.
It's the Samsung, yeah.
In the Samsung. So they both got 8 megapixel rear-facing cameras. They can both record HD. The S3 does have a better front-facing camera. So if you're going to be doing lots of video conferencing, video calls, Samsung got the edge there. It's got a more powerful lens. That's the front-facing camera. And they can both shoot video at 720p. That's with the front-facing camera. So still pretty impressive specs on the camera. Very good connectivity. Both got Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth, standard stuff. They both got wireless charging as well, which is a cool feature. The Nexus 4 doesn't come with 4G connectivity.
Right.
So long term, when the network's moved to 4G,
Yep.
if you are considering that, you might be better off with the S3, because that comes with a 4G LTE.
Certain models, but
well, yeah, sure. So the software is pretty much the same, both from the Android operating system. The S3 has been updated to what's called the 4.1 Jelly Bean release. Battery life, the Samsung battery is removable, but the Nexus battery is not removable. So if you're someone who likes to remove the battery, then you're probably going to be leaning towards the actual Samsung. So you can see the specs are very similar. In my humble opinion, I'd go for the cheaper option and stick with the Nexus, because it's a few £100 you're saving for a rainy day. But spec-wise, they are very similar. They look very similar. So all depends if you're someone who's used to the Samsung and you're a Samsung consumer, then you might stick with the Samsung. People like to be open. Fans of Google, there's lots of those around. I go for the Nexus, but they're both really good handsets.
I guess just to add on to that really, I normally don't do much of this, but just to say really, and the Nexus is made by LG, it's released by Google with its own, obviously, open source software, which means that it's got none of the bloatware that comes with the Samsung handsets, and none of these extra softwares, programs and apps and stuff like that are added on that you can't remove or you can't modify, whereas the Nexus just comes with an open source, as it be, just the version that Android Google that is created and wanted it to be used in that way. So that's just come with that, which tends to be a lot more faster because you haven't got all that stock stuff on sticking on the Samsung.
Absolutely.
Just an added point. I thought I'd just make that clear to everyone who's deciding on a handset and be that. The next question we've got here is app permission. I guess a lot of these are related to handsets these days, and that's what's used most in today's technology is handsets, mobile phones. Next question is related to that again, is related to Android handsets. App permissions. Can apps really access your phone calls and text if it is in the download permissions?
Okay, got to be careful here. I'm thinking of what the caller, the listener is referring to. Whenever you download or install any app on your smartphone, be it Android or even Apple, that installation process, you'll see almost like a warning saying, are you allowing this application to access your phone book, your location, your photo gallery? So whatever permission the application needs, the application should and hopefully will ask you for permission. I think one of the requirements nowadays is for all applications they won't be able to install unless you authorize which permissions they're allowed to have. So if the application needs to access your SMS, then you have to say yes. If the application wants to access your location or your photo book, you have to say yes. So that happens during the installation process. Once you've said yes, then when you're using the application, it's using the rights you gave it when you installed the application.
Okay.
And there are settings you can go into in all these smartphones. Many options may vary, but there will be a setting for that application, so you can change those permission options and the privacy options. Just because there's something in the download folder or download permissions, that doesn't necessarily mean the application automatically got access. You have to authorize it, and if you have authorized it, then it will have access. So be careful what you install, and when you do install applications, make sure you read what the application is asking you.
Sure.
So, don't just go giving out your credit card details and saying yes for everything.
Yeah, too naive. Some people will do that, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I guess just to touch on that as well. In download permissions, it's basically what you're saying is that it's like a guide is telling you this is what you can do, this is what you could possibly access, but you're giving that permission, aren't you? So you could basically go into a certain app, for example, which is based on, I don't know, like checking in on certain places. If you want to share it with a social network like Facebook or Google Plus or any others, and you're giving it permission that it'll share it automatically, whereas you can untick certain boxes and it won't share it. So that's like giving you information out publicly, but if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Absolutely. So moving on to our final question, because we haven't got a lot of questions today, but we've got something else that you're going to be covering off today, hopefully, inshallah, with our listeners. Final question of the day is, I want to get a Raspberry Pi unit for my 15-year-old son. Could you give me some key things that can be done with it?
Okay, Raspberry Pi. So that's another fantastic question. It's nice to see this type of question coming in. The listener obviously knows what the Raspberry Pi is, otherwise they wouldn't be asking this. So just for those listeners who haven't come across Raspberry, it's a Raspberry Pi. This whole concept was a little invention by some UK computer scientists, and the idea behind this was to produce a credit card-sized computer. Very simple, minimal computer, the size of a credit card, which can plug into your TV, and you can plug a keyboard into it. And the idea was you want to have a simple computer that can be used to do common things like doing spreadsheets, word processing, playing games, basic games, even playing videos. And that's exactly what the folks at the Raspberry Pi Foundation have produced. It's a credit card-sized computer, and it's wait for it. It's not going to break the bank. It's under £25.
Wow.
There were two models that they introduced. The first model was £16, and that was Model A, and now Model B is £22.
Excellent.
Model B has 2 USB ports. It's got 256 megabytes of RAM, and it has an SD card to read data off your memory card. So the sort of thing you can do with it is you can install a Linux-type operating system, which allows you to run applications which allow you to do basic scripting, programming in a scripting language, such as Python, for example. Python is a scripting language. You can use your Raspberry to play movies. There's even people who've got it to play 1080p high-definition movies. You can do word processing, so you can run your normal applications you'd be running in a school-type of environment. It literally is a phenomenal learning tool for children to get into the idea of computing, because you'll see the actual card when you get it. You just see the actual circuit board with a few ports where you can plug in your cables. There's one HDMI port, so you can plug it straight into your TV, so you don't need a powerful monitor. If you don't have a HDMI type of TV, then you can use the actual composite cable, which is the older type of analog signal, which can be plugged into pretty much every TV I've seen, so the older type of TV. And it has a network card, so Model B has the network port. Model A never had the network port.
Sure.
It uses a small power, there's a small power supply, 5-volt micro USB connector, and you have to install the operating system on your SD card. You have to do that via a computer, so there's a learning process there to teach children what an operating system is. Once you've installed that, you stick in the SD card, and you turn the device on, and bingo, you've got your operating system. A mini Windows-like OS where you can do you can write letters to your loved ones, you can do some surfing on the internet, you can do some scripting, and you can even watch a movie. So all the basic things you need to do when you're learning about computers, you can do on there. Even some advanced things. So if you want to use it as a media player, you can use that little device as a media player.
It's a media home, homie.
Yeah, it's a really good thing for people who want to get into computing. Certainly children who need to learn about what does a computer look like physically, what are the internals of it. It's a fantastic learning tool. So
it's really cheap.
I'm interested to know how this listener gets on with it, actually. They want to buy it, so inshallah when they do buy it, if they can maybe call in or email in and let us know how they get on. And if they want some help on actually installing the operating system, which will be a bit of a challenge, then get them writing their questions in. Maybe we can have a series, a Raspberry series.
That would be great. That's a nice idea. We'll save that for another day, though. That is it pretty much in terms of the questions. So you did have something else prepared for us, Brother Ghufran Shah. Would you like to start with that?
Yeah, we had a few questions. Just talking to a few colleagues of mine, and they kind of sent me some interesting articles and just some things about what's happening in the technology world today. 2013 looks to be another exciting year for gadgets and gadget lovers. So just picked out some of the top 5 exciting gadgets for this year. Google have launched a project for a while now called Project Glass, and the idea behind this is you'll have a pair of glasses where you can, when you're looking at the glasses, you can see all the information that you need for your normal day-to-day usage. So you'll be able to see messages from Facebook on your glass, your email, your SMSs.
Sure.
If you're going away, you can have your TomTom directions displayed, or your Google Maps displayed in the right-hand corner of the lens. So everything you see on the screen, you could overlay onto your pair of glasses.
Wow.
So it sounds like futuristic Star Trek type of stuff, but it's here today. So that's going to be an interesting thing this year, how that develops. It's going to be launched to consumers pretty soon. Those of us who are into gaming, console gaming, the Xbox 720, that's not the official name, but the idea is that there is a new console, which is the successor to the Xbox 360.
Okay.
The rumor is, and I think it's more than a rumor, it's planned to be unveiled this summer. So I'm not sure when it's actually out, but they're going to be releasing some information this summer about the Xbox 360 successor, which is actually codenamed Durango. All these tools and projects have a code name, so this is called Durango. Rumored to have 8 gigabytes of RAM, quad-core processor, a lot more powerful than the PS3 even. So watch this space for the Xbox successor. Another interesting thing, there's something called Nest, which is a very powerful thermostat, and what this does is it's a device produced by 2 ex-Apple employees, and what they produced is there's this thermostat device which learns about how you like the temperature in your house. And the device is learning about the optimal temperature, and it starts to regulate the temperature in all of your rooms in your house to, 1, save your energy usage, and 2, make your experience in your house from a heating point of view a lot more pleasurable. So interesting, intelligent thermostat.
Wow.
Coming to us. And the final one, which I thought was quite interesting, was you've got a health monitor, which it's this strap that looks like a watch, but it's actually a heart rate monitor that works without strapping anything onto your chest. So you can wear it on your wrist, and you get an accurate reading of what your heart rate is. Okay, so for those people who have some kind of heart condition and they get these devices from the doctors, and Some devices can be quite horrendous. You've got to wear them on your chest and everything.
Yeah.
This is more kind of looks just like a watch on your wrist that's monitoring your heart rate. So lots of advances in technology we're seeing in that space. How are we doing on time? Let me just squeeze a few more things in. Those professionals out there who have just graduated or they're in their first job or looking to change jobs in the IT field, there is a really interesting website called itjobswatch.co.uk, which looks at the trends in the IT job market, and there's trends in the contracting job market as well as the permanent job market. And the top 5 skills at this point in the past 4 months are as follows. So the number 1 skill for that's in demand in the IT market is a development skill. So if you're a developer who can program, there's no mention of a specific programming language. They come later on, but if you're an experienced developer, you've got the attitude to actually develop and the aptitude to develop, that skill is much in demand. And some of the average salary brackets you could demand for experienced developers are around the £40,000 a year mark.
Wow.
The second skill is SQL. And SQL is moving into the field of databases, so you don't need to be a full development type of guy, but if you're savvy with SQL and you've got that database type of background, you know how to write queries,
Sure.
You can do reports, and you're really into databases, then that is a skill which has ranked higher than a few months ago. Again, around £40,000 is the average salary for that. And then the theme that follows on is the actual development language, so .NET, C#, SQL Server, those kind of skills. Again, they're in the top 5. So but the message is, if you're technical and you've got a technical skill, a programming skill, development skill, then your skills are in demand. So those of you who have got an interest in computer science, or you're finishing your GCSEs and you want to know which career path you want to take, I'd still recommend IT is the way to go. And try and stick to the hardcore sciences, the computer science, the maths, the physics. I'd stay away from the business information systems and the soft sciences, I call them. That's just my personal opinion. I think IT skills are going to be here for a long time. Okay, so that's all I really wanted to share. We haven't had any calls today, which is unfortunate. But maybe we can have a competition, Yasar. What do you think?
A competition?
Entice the listeners to call in, yeah.
That is an idea, isn't it? Yeah, and I guess I'm off next week, so we can have a look at that. What were you thinking in terms of competition, though?
I was thinking, and I'm thinking about a prize. We could give a Raspberry Model B as a prize, but I need to have some useful questions.
Exciting.
Yeah, maybe we just put our thinking caps on to see how we can entice these listeners. I'm sure they're out there. There's millions and billions and trillions of people listening out there.
Oh yeah, they're definitely out there, because you will always get them coming up to you and saying, "I heard your program. You were on about so and so," or they'll comment somewhere, or post you a message or a text. But when you tell them to come on air or call in on the show, they go all sort of shy. So
shy,
yeah. We'll have to grab a hold of them somehow.
Yeah, maybe we should start calling our friends up and say, "Look, ask a question now. You're on air."
Or maybe we can get family members to disguise their voices and pretend they're someone else. It might be the only way. It might be the only way.
What are you like?
What? It's cheap tricks. Cheap tricks.
Yes. I was speaking to a friend of mine, my beloved Turkish brethren. I won't give any names out because that might it might embarrass him, and let's keep the anonymous, but he said, you must sound like Tim Westwood on the radio, and he said, try and say "aight" in a Turkish manner. And I can't really say that, so I'm going to practice saying "aight," listeners, "aight."
All right.
Okay, so
that's a wrap then.
That's all I've got to say. That's a wrap. So it's Assalamu alaikum from you, and Assalamu alaikum from me.
Till next time.
Yeah, so I think most people are going back to work tomorrow, so it starts 2013. Inshallah, this year will bring lots of mercy from Allah for all of us, and give you success and health to all of our families, inshallah. So onwards and upwards.
Excellent. Till next time.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalam.
The Tech Clinic has come to the end, and it's time to wrap up the show, and I'll leave you for another week. We'll meet again next week at 8:30 in line with the Tech Clinic. Till next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.